let's talk more about police brutality. Because in my view, police brutality, and we could talk about training police. We could talk about making police better. And that's good. I support that. Police should be better. But what can we do as prosecutor to make sure that this misconduct is not being rewarded and isn't being swept under the rug? There's a couple of things that I'm the only candidate in this race to have committed to this. And I think specific commitments are important. There's a couple of things that I've pledged to do. And I'm saying this specifically, which is important, not vagaries. You don't hear just, flowery rhetoric from me. You hear specific promises that you can hold me to, which is important. Two things I want to mention to hold police accountable. Number one, officer engages in an unlawful arrest, excessive force, right? Searches you without the sufficient cause required under the Fourth Amendment to the Constitution. You're in court. You're being charged with something, right? You've got a legitimate constitutional claim against that officer. You do. But the prosecutor comes to you and they say, look, here's the deal. We'll sentence you to probation. Give you a record, but we'll send you to probation or a year in prison, whatever, right? But here's what you got to do for us. You got to promise us you're going to drop your constitutional claim. You got to promise that you'll drop your claim that your rights were violated. You can't litigate that anymore. That's the price of the deal. Think about what that does, Tyrone. That sweeps police misconduct under the rug because it never sees the light of day. It never gets litigated. Officers are never held accountable. When I'm prosecutor, that is not going to be a part of our plea agreements. You have a real constitutional claim? You got a claim that your rights were violated? Let's let it see the light of day. We'll preserve your right to litigate that, even after you take a plea bargain. So that's number one. Number two, let's talk about racial profiling. Because racial profiling is something that is all too real. And part of the reason that it occurs is because police officers think that there's payoff at the end. Here's how racial profiling goes down. I just drove from my last meeting, 1.5 miles. It was just down the road for me. I probably committed 20 traffic violations, and I'm a good driver. I probably committed 20 traffic violations in that 1.5 mile drive home. Because everybody's committing traffic violations like every 4 seconds. There's so many laws on the books, right? And a police officer can pull you over for anything, for any of them, right? So a police officer pulls you over, traffic violation, right? And then they come up to you and they say, "Oh, do you mind if I look around the car? Mind if I just have a look here?" Now, what people don't know is you and anybody listening got to know this. You can say no to that. Any question an officer asks you, if they're asking for your consent, for your permission, you can say no. But most people don't know that. And most people, if they see an officer with a gun right in front of them, it's not a question that they feel empowered to answer no to. But as soon as you do that, the officer doesn't need any reason to search your car. Doesn't have to have any suspicion. Doesn't have to have any evidence of wrongdoing at all. And so they search your car, and then, what do they find? Maybe 13 marijuana plants, right? 13 is the level that's still illegal in Michigan. You could still be charged criminally if you got 13 marijuana plants. 12, it's okay. 13, no good. Maybe a little bit of cocaine, maybe some Adderall, right? And then you're charged up with what we call contraband crime, right? Possession. We should not be charging those crimes, because I'll tell you what, I didn't get pulled over on the way here because I don't have to deal with driving while black, because I'm not black. But those types of pretext stops, minor traffic violation followed by a request, "Can I just look around your car, sir?" That is how you mask racial profiling. That is how you fit it within the legal structure. But it's wrong. And so here's what I'm saying. That factual scenario, we're not charging that crime. We're not charging these crimes that are based on these pretext stops that were based on racial profiling when it yields just, a contraband crime, some possession crime, something like that.
Right.
And if you don't charge that, officers don't have the incentive to do it anymore. So when we talk about holding police accountable, it's great. It's great to talk about changing the culture in policing, and I support that. But every candidate in this race is running for prosecutor. We should be talking about the levers that we can pull, not just the appointment of a special prosecutor when an officer engages in brutality that's caught on cell phone camera.
Right.
But the everyday brutality that goes on the streets through racial profiling, through constitutional violations, that the prosecutor's office are all too happy to charge and that are swept under the rug because you're forbidden from litigating those constitutional violations.
Wow. Well, educate your viewers, man. They listening. They signing in. They signing in. So educate them some more about you, man. I got one last question, but I'll wait until the end. Go ahead and talk about yourself, man, and let the people know who you are. And, I said you ain't been around, but still, you had other life before us.
Yeah. Look, and here's the truth. I grew up in Washtenaw County.
Right.
I'm not parachuting in here from someplace. This is my home, right? I grew up in Ann Arbor, went to Pioneer High School, played basketball there.
Okay.
I played basketball actually. You remember Pioneer won the state championship in 1999.
Okay.
I didn't get moved up from JV for that tournament run. I was a sophomore. I was the and let me tell you about this because obviously it still bothers me. I was a leading scorer on the JV basketball team. They didn't move me up to varsity for that tournament run because they always move a few people up from JV just to play in the tournament. Didn't move me up because I was too aggressive, and they were like, the coach. I love him. He's a great guy. He was one of my mentors and wonderful person, Coach Townsend. But he just told me, he was like, I got to tell it to you straight. You're too aggressive, and I'm worried you're going to hurt one of our good players for the tournament run.
Wow.
So I was like, all right, I'll deal with it. But then they go and win the state championship, and I didn't get that ring. But that's me. That's where I grew up. That's what I spent high school doing. Graduated. I started my career, and I think this is important for this prosecutor's run. Before I was a lawyer, I started my career as an 8th grade public school history teacher. I taught special education. I taught general education classes. And when we talk about ending the school to prison pipeline, when we talk about the kids that are going through our justice system, I think it's important to have somebody in this office that has actually been in a classroom, that has actually been in a school, that has seen the other side of this. I had kids. I taught in New York City public schools. I had kids that were coming into school, right? And their parents weren't present because they'd been held on cash bail, because they were justice involved in the system. They were fending for themselves. And you talk about the intergenerational aspect of what our criminal justice system has done, right? That's case in point.
Yeah.
13, exactly. 14 years old. Parents justice involved. I had a kid. I remember this kid. I was told, look, this kid is a gang leader, right? Don't mess with him. Don't mess with him. If he wants to leave class, just let him leave class. He caused havoc in 7th grade. I was 8th grade. He caused havoc in 7th grade. Don't mess with him. Now, I was a first-year teacher. And this kid comes in, and his name was Raul. And I was having trouble controlling the class. Most first-year teachers, they have challenges, right? I was having trouble. Class was acting wild, and I was having trouble delivering a lesson. Raul comes in probably 15 minutes late, and he sees me struggling up there. He just goes, "Yo, Mr. Savit, do you mind if I take a crack at calming them down?" And I say, "Sure, Raul," because I didn't know what else to do. And he jumps up on a chair, and I don't usually curse in public interviews, but I know I know there's
we wrong.
Exactly.
We wrong.
Jumps up on a chair, and he goes, "Yo, everybody shut the fuck up. Mr. Savit's trying to teach." Class goes dead silent.
There you go.
And he gets down off a chair, and you know what he says? He goes, "I'm sorry I had to cuss Mr. Savit."
But he completed the mission.
He completed the mission. And so I actually I built a relationship with him because I was teaching American history from the Civil War to the present. And he liked that stuff. He liked it. I mean, it's a fascinating time, right? So he liked my class, and he'd come to school sporadically. And he told me once, he was like, "Yeah, no, they say I'm in a gang, but look, here's the thing, we're just looking out for each other. It's me and my siblings. And my mom's been justice involved, right? And we're just looking out for each other. It's not like that, right? Wow. We're not trying to do harm to anybody. We just got to look out for each other. We got to band together."
Wow. And they called him a gang leader.
They called him a gang leader. And I'll tell you, I mean, he came to school sporadically. He didn't come to school all that often. And I wish there was like a happy ending to this story, and it's like one of those movies, and then, he ended up, everything ended up being good. I have no idea what happened to him because he stopped coming to school partway through his school year, and I just lost track of him. But he was a smart, charismatic kid. I mean, he was a leader. And you think about all the things that he could have done if he wasn't labeled like a gang leader, if his mom hadn't been justice involved, hadn't been in and out of the system, right? We take away kids' potentials when we criminalize childhood mistakes and we assume the worst of them. So that's something. It's not law. It's not my career as a lawyer. But that's an experience I think matters when you're looking at the justice system, when you're looking at kids in the justice system. So went to the University of Michigan for law school, and I mean, I don't want to talk about, this isn't about resume building or anything like that.
Right. They need to know who you are.
But what I hate about this campaign, and this is all political campaigns, it's not just this one, but we spend all this time talking about our resumes and bragging about ourselves or whatever. But my career started, I was in private practice. I represented everybody from victims of domestic violence and spousal abuse. I represented kids with disabilities. I represented criminal defendants. I represented folks in immigration proceedings, right? So the whole gamut of cases. Worked on the Supreme Court of the United States for Justice Ginsburg. Then I came back home. I was in D.C. I had my choice to stay in D.C. or not. And I decided to come back to Washtenaw County. I decided to come back to my home county because this is a place I love. This is where I wanted to put roots down. All right. And I did. And I've been back here since 2016. So I'm sorry. That's why I wasn't. I just gotten back here in 2016 when you were running.
It's so fun. It's all right.
Yeah. All right. And my day job currently is at the city of Detroit. And I lead our public interest litigation programs there. We're suing slumlords and banks and land speculators that have maintained homes in dangerous conditions and gave kids lead poisoning, right? Suing the opioid industry. You talk about drug dealers. Everybody likes to talk about drug dealers. You know where the biggest drug dealers are? They sit up in they sit in corporate offices in New York City wearing a suit and a tie.
That's right.
And they're never held to account. And they're responsible for millions of people being addicted. You should see some of the stuff that's come out in this case, right? These are the bad guys.
Right.
And nobody ever holds them to account because, you know what? They wear nice clothes and they do their drug dealing in a corporate boardroom behind a nice fancy mahogany conference table.
And they sling a lot of money.
A lot of money. If you can be a drug dealer. You can be a drug dealer legally in this country as long as you make enough money at it. Right? As long as you make billions with a B.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Shirt and tie and all that.
Then they name art wings after you in New York City, like they did with the Sackler family.
Wow.
Right. Then you're held up as a civic model, even though you're peddling OxyContin, which got a generation of people addicted to opioids. So we're suing them.
Yeah.
Suing them for the damage they've done to our community. And that's what I currently do. And then I litigate civil rights cases. I work pro bono for the ACLU, protecting voting rights. I'm also litigate voting rights cases for them. And we just recently wrapped up a case that I was heavily involved in, the right to literacy lawsuit out of the city of Detroit, which I don't know if you followed that, but it was a case in which Detroit kids, because the state took over the schools and the bottom fell out from under Detroit schools. Academic achievement went down, the school buildings were crumbling, and the lawsuit was alleging that Detroit kids had been denied their constitutional right to literacy, to learn how to read and write under the U.S. Constitution. First ruling in the country ever to recognize that there is a right to a minimal basic education under the U.S. Constitution came in that case. And then we settled it really quickly with the governor, which was a good thing, to get some money and resources into Detroit schools. So that's my background. That's my background.
All right.
And you might say, why am I running for prosecutor? Dating back to my time in the classroom, I've seen our criminal justice system at the center of so much injustice. It's not just what happens when people are behind bars. It's the effect on families, on people's ability. Even when they come out, they're stigmatized. They're labeled. We call people. You showed me that newspaper article, right? What were you called?
Inmate.
Inmate.
My inmate days was over with. I was released in '93, and in 2000 I was called an inmate. So I couldn't win. No way. That's what you call the powers that be with their foot on your neck. And then if you're a politician, you running against me. And if you see some filth in a newspaper like that, and you're supposed to be a minister, and you didn't denounce it, and now you mayor by default, what the fuck? All I'm saying, man, they need to hear you. I'm gonna make up my mind one way or another. A lot of people just really want to know who these damn people is, because we scared of making the wrong decisions. And honest to God, a lot of people said they've been sending me messages. Damn, I'm glad you even had this conversation with these people, because ain't no softball questions. I ain't throwing no softball questions at nobody. I ain't trying to. If I seemed like I was soft on the other one, I had to be careful. She a woman. They'd tear my ass up. Like, you shouldn't treat that woman like. I'd never get a wife if I'd have tore up like that. I called you my nigga. You should feel home. You should feel at home for real. Because I ain't even call Hugo my nigga. He already know. We black anyway. Let me ask you a question. Somebody posed something to me, and I need to really put it on the floor because it was interesting. It's about your voting record. Did you vote for Barack Obama?
Yes.
You voted for him both times?
Yes. Of course.
So do me a favor.
Yep.
So say it live right now that whoever's saying that he didn't vote in Barack Obama's election, tell them they're telling a damn lie.
They're telling a damn lie.
And you know it's verifiable. We can check it.
They are telling a damn lie. Now, what I will say, 2012, his re-election, I was living in D.C., so I was registered in D.C. 2008, I was here. In 2008, I cast my vote via absentee ballot for Barack Obama, and then I spent all day in Detroit doing voter protection work, making sure that Republicans wouldn't come in and try to suppress the vote.
Oh. Okay.
2012. So absentee ballot in Michigan, 2008, I was in law school in Ann Arbor, so I voted here. 2012, re-election, I voted in D.C. because that's where I was living. I had to register there, right? Okay. I wish I could have voted in Michigan because Michigan, he was going to win D.C. by a lot. Michigan's always more of a swing state, but, had to follow the law.
So you voted, but not only you didn't vote in D.C. then?
I voted in D.C. in 2012.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, I voted for Barack Obama. I mean, even though it didn't whatever. He was going to win. He was going to win D.C. no matter what. But yes, I voted. I stood in line to vote. And the reason I stood in line to vote was because, once again, I spent election day out volunteering. I spent election day driving down to Virginia, which was closer, right? It's close to D.C., but it was also a close election down there, and people were worried about Virginia. And I did GOTV and was knocking on doors saying, do you need a ride to the polls? Right? Can we get you out to the polls? So yes, I voted for Barack Obama proudly twice. I supported Barack Obama actually in the primaries in 2008, back when everybody was supporting Hillary. I supported Obama, but I'm proud to say before it was cool.
Wait a minute. Hey, y'all check this out. Hold on. I got to get it on the record. My nigga just myth bust. He just actually myth bust. Somebody said he didn't vote. Voting record needs to be questioned. Damn. He just put it out there, y'all. He said he did. I have to ask the questions. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that's fine. And look, people want to spread. There's lies going around, but I understand how that can happen because I didn't vote in Michigan in 2012. I was voting in D.C.
It's politics. It's called politics, actually.
Yeah, but hell yes, I voted for Barack Obama twice.
Okay.
I was supporting him. I voted in the primary.
See?
Now, I don't know if you remember this, but in the primary election in Michigan in 2008, you didn't have a choice to vote for Obama because the name wasn't on the ballot.
Right.
And so I voted uncommitted because I didn't want to vote for Hillary because I was supporting Obama. I voted uncommitted so that those delegates could go to Obama. Exactly. And you can check. I can show you my Facebook post from that. I'm saying everybody vote uncommitted if you want to vote for Barack Obama. Don't forget to do that.
Give me one second. Give me 1 second. Grab some water.
Yep.
Forgive me, man. I had to get my dog out of here too.
Hey, no worries.
Woo, sorry. Got my water. I had to get my dog out here because I ain't wanting to bark no more. But I'm sorry, man. Forgive me, y'all. I had to disappear for a second, get some water, and get my dog out of here. But anyhow, man, like I said, we need to know. Talk about your agenda, man. When you get in there, talk about your agenda.
So let's talk about this. I got an 18-point plan.
Okay.
It's on my website. Everybody can read it. And I make specific promises about what I'm going to do in office. Now I heard the previous shows, or at least I heard part of it.
What talk? You got the flow.
I want to talk about cash bail because people are saying, oh, it's illegal not to seek cash bail.
Okay.
Right. And I want to just read the court rule that's being referenced. Okay, you mind if I just read it?
Wait a minute, let me let him know though. Hey, it's breaking news now. Now, EL got something that he got to say about this cash bail. So let's hear what he got to say here. This is important.
So Michigan Court Rule 6.106D says that a defendant can be released in several circumstances. One is they can be held in custody without bond, and there's a certain category of crimes that can happen. Two is they can be released conditionally with or without money bail, with or without. Three is, and I'm reading the language right now from the court rule, they can be released on personal recognizance or an unsecured appearance bond, which means that you don't have to put up money out of your pocket, right? You release either personal recognizance based on a promise to come back, or you're released on an unsecured bond, which basically means, if you don't come back for court, then we're going to charge you but you don't have to put up money out of your pocket, right?
Wait a minute. Washtenaw County don't have very many fugitives that don't come back.
Well, exactly. So
that right there,
so
right
why
there.
so why are we using cash bond? Now I want to mention another thing. The court
unbalanced playing field, man. It's an unbalanced playing field on that.
Exactly. And I want to mention another thing. So I'm just reading, and I'm just reading. I'm reading the court rule.
Go ahead.
The court has the discretion to impose, quote, any other condition reasonably necessary to include the defendant's appearance as required and the safety of the public, end quote. Which means it doesn't have to be money. It doesn't have to be money. The court has discretion to put other conditions in place that ensure that the public is safe. And there are options available. It does not have to be cash bond. It is not illegal not to seek cash bond. That is not true.
So Miss Slade just misspoke.
Well, let me say this. Let me just say this. What I'm committed to doing as prosecutor, because I oppose cash bail, it doesn't mean that we're not going to seek to impose those other conditions, which may be so stringent that they require somebody to be held if they're dangerous, if they're really dangerous. But think about what you're doing when you're defending a cash bail system. Think about what you're saying. You're not saying we're keeping the community safe from people. We're saying we're keeping the community safe unless you happen to be wealthy. If you're wealthy, we're okay with you buying your way out.
And they most of the time get personal recognizance. They don't have to put up more money.
Well, because they can pay fancy defense lawyers and everything like that, and they're connected, and we got an unjust system here anyway, right? Now people say, you can't just not seek cash bond. Yes, I can. I'm not the only prosecutor in the state of Michigan that's pledging to do this. Go read the ACLU questionnaires. Prosecutor running in Oakland County said, I'm not seeking cash bond. Prosecutor running in Wayne County said that. Do all of us not know what we're talking about? Does the ACLU, they're lawyers, they're pretty good lawyers. Do they not know what they're talking about either when they say, will you not seek cash bond?
Right.
We can do this in Michigan. And I never said I can get rid of it entirely statewide. Of course I can't. Of course I can't. I'm running for Washtenaw County Prosecutor. I'm not running for King of Michigan, right? But what I can promise to do is we're not going to seek it when I'm prosecutor, just like prosecutor candidates in Oakland and Wayne County have promised to do. Just like the ACLU is asking people to do. Because cash bail is not about public safety. Cash bail is about keeping poor people in jail and not wealthier ones. If you're the victim of a crime, if you're the survivor of a crime, right? Are you going to feel any safer just because the person that harmed you happens to be wealthy and they had a big bank account? Does anybody feel safer when we're holding poor people in jail? And this is a real case. I keep mentioning the ACLU, but they've been litigating this stuff. Read their lawsuit out of Wayne County. $200 cash bond because you were in the park after dark, holding somebody in jail for a week. Is that protecting public safety? No. It's the criminalization of poverty, and that's why I oppose it. It's straightforward. We can obfuscate this question all we want and say, well, it's a little bit more complicated. But no, cash bail is the criminalization of poverty, which is why I oppose it, which is why we're not going to seek it.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you. That's what I'm talking about. A hot topic on your radar, the Grady family as well. You heard me speak about it, the last two candidates. That cop, you the prosecutor, the next prosecutor, Washtenaw County, and that cop came across your radar. And the situation is still the same. It's a white cop, black woman. You already know I called you my nigga, so it ain't no game. It's flat out. You're talking real. The cop grabbing her first initiated whatever happened next was my issue. But Johnny come lately everybody looking at these videos, and then when Jerry breaks it down to the public, like she did something against the cop. Like, that just didn't fit logic. Just, if he didn't touch her, there wouldn't have been no biting going on. So how could you even protect a cop? And you grabbing somebody like that? She wasn't causing no murder. She wasn't causing no major crime. I mean, that's her daughter's house. Like, what the hell? That could have been a powder keg in this doggone community. Protests starting, but George Floyd helped amplify it. But the thing of it is, by you bidding for the next top cop, how would you self-check a Clayton and his posse like that? How would you check self-checking? Because I know Clayton really, he done turned off a lot of voters, but it's on you. I'm sorry, I done been on him too much right now. Till I get
well,
done.
this is you know, we started at the beginning with this, and this is why I say we need a special prosecutor in every single case like that.
Damn right.
And I'm glad it's with the Attorney General, because that's I trust that there's going to be an unbiased investigation.
I hope and pray.
Yeah.
I hope and pray.
But I'll say this. I literally just before I was on with you, I was sitting with the Grady L's. I was just meeting with them. They were at our debate on Saturday, wanted to meet with me, and I've gotten to know them.
That's good, man.
Right. And I've been out at virtually all the protests with them. And, you know, you can say what you want about protesting, but I think protesting drives change. You look at you look at that prosecutor in Minneapolis.
Oh, yeah.
Never charged the murderer of George Floyd until after there were protests across the country, and he was forced to do so. I also think it's important for public officials to go to these protests, right? And listen to people and hear the voices of the community. Because if you're just sitting behind your desk doing paperwork, right, in your offices, how do you know what's going on in the community? How do you know what's going on in the streets? So, you know, I saw a lot of candidates. I saw a lot of politicians there. And I think it's important that you know, any elected official be showing up when the community is outraged. It doesn't mean you have to agree with every single thing that's being said at the protest, but you should be there. You should be there to listen. And especially in a case, you know, when we had a month and a half of protests, just, you know, with the bottom line was Black Lives Matter, you should be showing up to support that and marching for that.
Right. That's what definitely need to happen. Everybody need to come out and protest against this. I didn't like it. I didn't like the whole flip it off on a lady, because bottom line, I seen Sheriff Clayton's mom being tackled, and my mom being tackled, God rest her soul, my sister or somebody. No wonder. That's a reaction. That's gonna force a reaction out you. Somebody grabbing you like that. And it wasn't even that necessary when you have the tools that you have in your belt. That's all. It's just ridiculous. And then the 6-year-old boy that got shot. I mean, what can you tell these little young fellas around here as you being the next prosecutor coming through? You talk to these little young black boys and these young thugs out here that's committing this crime out here. And then let the voters hear how you're going to address all that for real. Because while you're talking about you're not going to seek a life sentence without possibility of parole, but if that bullet would have hit your kid, one of your opponent's kid, or one of your friends' kids, one of my kids, a lax prosecution will probably cause more destruction in the community.
Yep.
If you understand where I'm coming from. Because niggas is not taking no deaths laying down right now.
Yeah.
Ain't taking no deaths laying down, not right now. And especially a 6-year-old dude. A 6-year-old get hit with a bullet innocently, didn't have nothing to do with their beef. They could shoot it out in the field across the street, but shoot a baby? So what you think about that?
So yeah, so let me say this, and this is on my website. I talk about reform a lot. I talk about the fact that we need to end mass incarceration a lot, and that is important to me. But I also understand I'm running for prosecutor, right? And my priority is to keep people safe. And serious crimes are going to be treated seriously. Now, does that mean life without parole? I will note on the Liberate Don't Incarcerate scorecard, I did say there might be some exceptional circumstances where I may seek a particularly harsh sentence. You got a serial killer, you got somebody committed terrorism, right? I mean, like there are situations that arise. But you shoot a 6-year-old? Hell yes. Hell yes, we're treating that seriously. That's a real victim. That's somebody that's harming the community. You killed a kid.
Or attempted to kill the kid.
Yeah, I'm not gonna let that slide.
And so what you trying to tell me right now, man, is you telling us on this no bullshit show,
yep,
that if you the prosecutor of Washtenaw County, the next prosecutor, and that doggone shooter or them people that they put on the news today come across your office, you mean to tell me that you're going to prosecute them with the fullest extent and a law and make sure they do time, serious time?
If you are shooting guns at people, if you're shooting guns where kids can be hurt, yes, you need. I mean, you need to be separated from the community, right?
That's what they need to hear. That man, they need to hear that.
Of course.
You sound like you're a reformer. You want to change the page, but you actually telling the voters right now that you is not gonna bullshit when it come down to harm or any of these citizens out here. Because my life matter too. I get a little young knucklehead shoot me.
Yeah,
look, he gonna catch hell in prison. But anyway, I got a young knucklehead shoot me. It's going to be backlash in the community, and it's just going to be some crazy stuff. What I'm trying to tell you is people hear gunshots every day. Gunshots in the township, gunshots in Superior Townships, gunshots in West Willow, gunshots all over, man. So what I'm saying, as a young guy, man, I mean, at least as a young guy that understands the wrongful convictions, but you got to also be a damn prosecutor at the end of the day, too. We want you to really focus on the real crime. And the real crime may be things that we're not seeing right now. That's why I gave you the earlier question. And also things that you see, like that 6-year-old. That's all I'm saying. I just want to make sure that when you catch them knuckleheads, I don't care who babies they is, that's out here shooting and hit a 6-year-old. Street code mean they supposed to get them when they get in the penitentiary. But I'm asking you gonna be the prosecutor. What really? You got to talk to them directly, because I don't know. It sounds like a soft answer. They need to hear that you gonna really deal them kids some justice. They kids, but you can't be considered a kid when you shooting a 6-year-old baby.
Yes, I mean, I will say this. Yes, anybody that is shooting a gun at people, that's going to be dealt with seriously. And there are two parts of my platform that fit together. I talk a lot about what needs to change, and we need to stop mass incarceration, and we need to stop, we talked about the pretext stops and the racial profiling and charging contraband crimes on that level, right? If you stop prioritizing so much of that, right? If you stop just shuffling people in and out of the justice system because they're dealing with addiction and mental health issues, right? And you stop the criminalization of childhood mistakes, schoolyard fights, what have you. If you stop focusing on that, it gives you a lot more resources to focus on the crimes that really matter, to focus on these shootings, to focus on sexual assault, human trafficking, rape. That's the kind of stuff that I think people want to see the prosecutor's office address. not throwing somebody in prison for years for a drug possession charge, right?
Right.
The two parts fit together. I'm not going to just let everybody that poses a threat to the community free. We're not going to do that. What we are going to do is make sure that we are appropriately prioritizing community safety. And let me say this too. A lot of this, the prosecutor's job, public safety's job, should be to prevent crime from even happening. And
prevention,
it's rare.
We say prevention, prevention
Yep.
instead of intervention, instead of be proactive instead of reactive.
Exactly. And it's rare. It does happen, but it's rare that somebody's first time coming through the justice system is because they killed somebody. Right?
Right.
Usually it's, you see an escalation in what they're being charged with. So this is what I'm saying. The first time somebody comes into the justice system, we need to be doing a much better job of diverting them off that path, of making it so that shooting never happens in the first place. And the way we're treating young people, you send young people to juvenile detention center. You can read the studies on this, but anybody that's been there probably knows it too. It makes it more likely that you're going to commit a crime again. And you know why? I mean, let's think about why that is. You take a kid away from their family, from their support system, you put them in a juvenile detention center, who are they going to form connections with? That's where gangs happen. That's where gangs are formed and grow, right? Because you're hardwired when you're a kid to want to seek those social connections. So it makes us less safe when we're criminalizing childhood mistakes, right? And then they come out of the juvenile detention center, you see them continue to, the behavior continue to escalate. If what we did at the outset, the first time somebody came through the justice system,
exactly,
is connecting with mentors, right? People that can talk to them, something engaging, that's been proven to work.
Mm-hmm.
So what we're doing is, every prosecutor is going to say, of course I'm going to prosecute when somebody's shooting at somebody. And that's a no-brainer. But what we need to be thinking about is how do we stop that shooting from happening in the first place? By nudging somebody off that path the first time they come through the justice system.
Well, if you got situations like in Sycamore Meadows where you got the sheriff department working with the doggone land, the property owner. That ain't no good method. I just seen videos the other day. They walking through there like an army, shining lights when the lights were out. Because I guess it was a shooting over there, but just the tactics just don't look right. And the partnership that they have with these low-income housing is a major problem. It's a major problem. And I don't see very many people outraged about it, but the protesters about it, they pissed off about it. But I'm just saying, I'm talking about elected officials.
Hey, I was there. I was there in Sycamore Meadows the next day.
That's what I'm saying. I'm just, it's crazy. It's sad that you got that happening in the midst of this pandemic, and also it's going to be a list of people being evicted because they can't pay their rent. And I'm just wondering, as a top prosecutor, how was you going to handle something like that, knowing that your office is going to be bombarded with eviction cases and probably appeals after appeals after appeals?
So I got to be upfront about this though. Eviction cases don't fall within the prosecutor's jurisdiction, right? Eviction happens.
Well, I'm saying in the court apparatus. But as the prosecutor, what I'm saying, as the top cop, it's not like you dumb to everything that's going on.
Right.
You might even see a landlord might evict a family that actually fell on hard times during the COVID-19. I mean, I'm just asking as a citizen. I'm ignorant because I don't know. Can the prosecutor get involved in something like that and try to stop or either halt that eviction because it was a state of emergency that was declared?
So it depends on the circumstances, but if there's an executive order from the governor, right, that makes, as most of her executive orders do, it makes violation of the order a misdemeanor, right? then indeed the prosecutor can charge with for violation of that. So if it says, for example, no evictions until X date and violation of this is a misdemeanor, then yes, you can charge, and it should be charged.
Okay, Sycamore Meadow, law enforcement working together to get rid of these residents. I don't know. I ain't the smartest. I ain't the smartest cook in the damn bunch, but that seems a little fishy at best. What you think?
Yeah, well, and I think there's deeper problems with
the police need to know their role, basically, right? Either they gonna protect and serve, or they gonna get into social issues by getting involved on trying to get some families evicted. That's not cool.
And yeah, and certainly if it's an illegal eviction, especially they shouldn't be doing that. But
they shouldn't even be. What it sounds like to me is a conflict of interest. They shouldn't even be involved. Period. That's not their job. Their job is not to be contracted out by a apartment complex or management to be the overseers. That's just some shitty shit. That's shitty. And ain't nobody said nothing about that. Ain't nobody talked about that. So I'm giving you the flow on that situation because that's your domain. That look ugly. That situation look real ugly. But I'm saying as the top prosecutor, what could you actually do in a case like this and potentially may even have ramifications because you got the sheriff department blending in. It just don't sound right, man. I mean,
so here's what we can do. If there's a violation of the governor's executive order, which prohibits evictions, and if that's a misdemeanor, right? If they're blatantly violating her orders, then we can charge it. The other thing that we can do, even in more normal times, right, is you've got these slumlords out there, and a lot of them are maintaining houses in dilapidated conditions and causing known hazards to children, right? And it's especially true if there's lead paint in the house. Right. Now, it is a crime to knowingly expose a child to lead hazards if you're the renter or the owner of a property and you're renting it out to a young family. This is what I do at my day job. I love litigating against slumlords. I mean, I wish I didn't have to, but like I'll do it all day to protect families and to protect kids.
And you won't you won't do no backdoor deals where you get your hand greased and get $1 here.
No,
you ain't into that.
I'm not into that. I'm not into that. And the other thing is this: the prosecutor's office all too often doesn't charge corporate misconduct, right? You're a corporate landlord. You're a corporate slumlord. You got fancy defense counsel because they don't want to lose the case.
Don't tell me that you're gonna be the prosecutor, the top prosecutor, the first top prosecutor in office that'll bust these doggone corporations' heads in the county.
Hey, this is what I do. You remember I was talking about what I do in Detroit?
You'll be the first person that said it. So say it loud. You're gonna bust these corporations in the head too in the county.
I am going to hold every corporate wrongdoer that commits a crime and harms our community accountable. Period.
Even at the sheriff department, right?
Even no matter who else is involved. If they're stealing from you, they're engaging in wage theft. If they're slumlords that are endangering your kids, right? If they're polluting our air and water, I don't care if they are a corporation. I don't care how wealthy they are. I don't care how fancy their defense lawyers are. This is what I do. I go toe-to-toe against these guys in court. I oversee those cases. I've been litigating these cases for years. Corporations that are harming us, they are not above the law. Wealthy people that are harming us, they are not above the law. If there's a crime committed, we are going to charge it. We're going to litigate it. Because you know what? When you say, as a prosecutor, look, sometimes good defense lawyers can get good outcomes for their clients. I'll be real about that. Mm-hmm. I'm not promising a conviction in every case, because sometimes good lawyers can, even if their client's guilty, they can get an acquittal, right?
We ain't perfect,
But what does it say when you're so afraid of losing to a corporation, to a wealthy person, that you don't even charge it. What that says is you got immunity. You're so rich, you can afford such good lawyers, you got immunity. You can keep on harming the community. That's what I spent my career doing.
All right. So you're going to be at these slumlords up here. You're going to be at
Yes.
these slumlords. So McKinley property ass in trouble. What I'm hearing, if you catch some impropriety, and I hope you ain't renting from their ass, but anyway, that if you catch some improprieties, you know, already covered the sheriff, but if you going to catch improprieties with the doggone people like McKinley property and all these other slumlords around here, you going to bust their ass too. That's what you're trying to tell me on this show, though?
If they are committing a crime, I don't care who it is. I don't care who it is. They're committing a crime and they're harming people. Yes.
My nigga. That's what I'm talking about. That's the fucking that's what I'm talking about, man. Clear cut. Sheriff Clayton can get it too. That's what I heard. So be prepared. This man sound like he want the fucking job. So y'all better listen to him. We ain't going off the air just yet. We still rolling. Because I like the way he talk. Now he heating the air up a little bit. So let's talk more about you, man. And these people here want to know the group that you support. Who the groups that you support around here? Who the groups? I know they keep shooting this to me. Who the groups that you support?
Who do I support?
What groups you support out here?
Okay, so like, what am I involved in?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm on the board of Survivors Speak, wrongful conviction advocacy group, and they've been leading the protests here locally for the last month and a half or so. So I'm on the board of that. I'm on the advisory board of Families Against Narcotics, Washtenaw County, which is trying to address the opioid epidemic by getting people into rehabilitation, not just criminalizing them. I'm a lifetime member of the NAACP of Ann Arbor. As I talked about before, pro bono cooperating attorney with the ACLU of Michigan. I was on the board of the Fly Children's Arts Center over in Ypsilanti, which provided arts instructions for kids, and then they merged with a different organization. So I stepped down because, but I was on the board of that. So I'm out there. And you know, the other thing I'll say is this. I want to go back to this this question about me voting, which is so hilarious to me.
And I'm glad you went back to it. Run it. Let's get it.
Because I will put my commitment to not just voting, but to protecting other people's rights to vote up against not just any candidate in this race, but most people in the state of Michigan. All right? I litigate voting rights cases on behalf of the ACLU. I've done 2 in the past year or so, Michigan Supreme Court. Okay? Every election year since I've been back in Michigan, what I've done is I've taken time off work around election day, and I go and I help the Michigan Democratic Party coordinate our statewide voter protection efforts. And I you get up at 4 a.m. and you're sitting in a windowless room, and you're on the phone with people that are at the polling places across the state. And if they see an instance of voter intimidation, or they see somebody being denied their right to vote that is legally entitled to do so, then you're troubleshooting. You're getting resources in there. You're talking to the folks that are actually the poll workers. I did that in 2016 for the presidential election. I did it in 2018 for the gubernatorial election. I took time off this campaign even when it was heating up. Right before COVID hit, we had a presidential election, and I spent my weekend before the presidential election sitting, as I always do, coordinating statewide voting rights protection efforts with the Michigan Democratic Party. So, you know, you can miss me with the, I didn't even bother to vote myself, which look, I understand. I voted in DC in 2012, like I said, but that's something I'm really invested in because look, at the end of the day, we are on the cusp of Republicans taking control across the country, not through legitimate means,
sneaky,
but because of voter suppression.
Hoodwinking us. They sneaking one in on us. COVID hit us. Then the protest came. then they behind the protest while we doing protest, they sneaking behind closed doors, hooking us up. They
well, now they want to say, oh, vote by mail. We can't have vote by mail. They're trying to make people risk their lives to go vote, right? It's voter suppression. And the thing is, the reason is they want to silence people, right? And I'll be honest about this. There's some stuff I can talk to folks on the other side about, right? And that's good. I think we should be able to have discussions no matter political ideology. But you gotta respect the rules of the game. The rules of the game is people get to vote. And if you lose, you lose. And if you win, you win. But stop trying to win by denying people their vote, by denying people their voice.
That's crazy.
And that's something I've been fighting against.
We need more crusaders out there, man, to fight like that, man. We need that because, you know, a lot of people out here nervous, and I don't know, I'm not speaking for everybody, but a lot of people are nervous. They don't even know which way their ballot might go, you know. Seeing that the township, I know I'm in the township, I'm a little worried because of what's going on over there, that skullduggery with the roads and shit. Them roads is doing some sneaky stuff, but it ain't illegal, but they still doing sneaky stuff. They've been trying to, you know, put their family in place. See, it should be something in place to guard the citizens of that trickery. And they've been doing it for years. That's why she laughed about it like, oh, it wasn't nothing. Bullshit. People eyes on that now. And hopefully we not getting that out of some of these career politicians in there now because of the name recognition. The Petersons shouldn't be sliding into Petersons. And the Jeffersons should be sliding into Jeffersons. If y'all was out here doing something for everybody, not just some damn body, then yes, slide in your names. But they're not serving everybody. And I'm hard on the blacks, then I'm hard on the whites. Because there's a lot of whites that will support. And that's what I'm saying. Just because you're black, you're not always for black, you know? But a lot of white folks have actually jumped out of their skin to scream at the world about what's going on to us because they're not proud of it. They're not proud of the suppression. They're not proud of the abuse that's happened to us. Police brutality is a no-brainer with that one. But for you to even stand out there and protest in solidarity with everybody, man, I commend the fuck out you, man, for real. Because protest is big. Me at 51, I got doggone arthritis, and my knees swole. And I ain't gonna lie, my old ass be tired. I don't care. Anybody want to talk about me not walking out there with you side by side, all them doggone protests? Tell them to call me and tell me, because I'm gonna cut their ass down. I hurt when I walk. So I'm just trying to tell you, that's a commendable thing, bro. That's a commendable thing. But I want to make sure, like I said, all these viewers throwing little comments and everything, I don't want to just make sure you out there protesting just to get their damn vote. Then you get in there and do a 360 on it. You know, raw right now, just like I've been raw. Then you do a 360, you turn around and be like, no, we don't think you'll do it. I mean, I don't hope you'll do that, but I'm just saying, skeptical eyes is in the air. Like, I hope he's just not just talking like that just to be talking. And then he do something different. I'm trying not to read every post because it's a lot of them, a lot of questions. And I'm trying to shoot from the hip and gather some of what they ask and let this be a one-on-one, real one-on-one.
Well, let me say this. Everybody should always be skeptical of politicians saying nice things and then turning their backs on the community. You should always be skeptical of that. And you should be skeptical of it with me, and you should be skeptical of it with my opponents, right? You should be skeptical of it with anybody running for office because, you know, you cast a vote. It's an act of faith at the end of the day, right?
We believe you're going to do it.
You're believing that people are going to do what they say they're going to do. Here's what I'll say. A couple things. Number one, politicians try to give themselves wiggle room, right? They say nice sounding things. They say stuff that sounds in generalities. There's a nice story here and there, right? And it makes people feel like they're on their side, right? And then they get into office and they can turn around and they say, well, I didn't really say anything specific, right? So there's nothing to hold them accountable to. I have very purposefully try to be specific about what I'm going to do.
Right.
That's why you can go on my website. There's 18 points, right? And if I turn my back on what I said I was going to do during the campaign, you can hold me to that.
I will.
No, and look, I'm telling you this right now too. Please, if I win and I start slipping and you see me going back on my campaign promises, I want you in my office, and you got an invitation. You got an invitation. Come in there with your camera and say you're not doing what you said you were going to do. I want to be held accountable, and let me tell you why. I have no inherent desire just for the title of county prosecutor. It's not something that I grew up dreaming about when I was a kid. I'm running because I want to change the injustice in the system. I got into this to challenge Brian Mackey because I wanted to change the justice system here locally. I would rather lose and I would rather get voted out of office than just be a continuation of more than the same.
What do you say
no
to
desire
people?
To do that.
What do you say to people when they say he ain't got no prosecutorial experience? I mean, well, shit, fuck that. I'm not a damn news anchor, and I can hold an interview with simple damn people who ain't afraid to talk to me.
Yeah, look, I've never claimed to have prosecutorial experience, and here's what I think. I think if we're serious about eliminating a lot of the inequity that we have in our justice system, about turning the page on the systemic racism, the criminalization of poverty and childhood, I think, and this is, I'm saying this obviously as I'm running, but I think that's across the country too. We should want people in the top prosecutor's position that haven't just come up through the system.
So you saying basically a system groomed ass person, somebody who actually been groomed to act or potentially act a certain way, or be a certain person.
You do what you know. And the other thing is, I think it's important to have different perspective on people than just seeing them when they're coming in and you're charging them with crimes. Right? Look, like I said, I'm a teacher. I think that's relevant. It's not a lawyer's job, but I think it makes a difference if you care about ending the school to prison pipeline. Do you have somebody that's been in a school? I've seen in my work how the cascading effects of a conviction hold people back.
Damn right.
That label that we put on people. One of the things I've worked on at the city over the last year is legislation to dramatically expand the eligibility of people to get their old criminal records expunged.
Now, when you say criminal records expunged, like I said, that's right down my alley. I done went through, like I said, I'm holding this criminal record for 31 years. I done went through so many criminal record expungements, talked to some judges that smiled in my face. I said, damn, but y'all need to update the policy, because y'all only expunging one felony, one misdemeanor. What about
one felony, two currently? Yeah.
Well, my thing is this. What about a time after the person served their time and the tail and the max is done? They done maxed out. Shit, shouldn't it be a time that it should be? Shit, even the prosecutor's office, you should be up there fighting for them to clean their record too. Like, wait a minute. I mean, he didn't did his time now. Now, as the prosecutor who sent his ass to jail, give him his record back. That's all I'm trying to say, because there's a lot of people asking the question. What about?
I agree with that. Look, and here's the truth of the matter.
Because ain't nobody talked about that. Ain't nobody talked about that. So ain't nobody talked about that part. So go ahead.
No, and it's important because look, the injustices of the criminal justice system aren't just about what happens when somebody's sitting behind bars. It's about that stigma that follows you for the rest of your life when you're labeled a felon, right? Former inmate, right? And you can do everything right. You can be rehabilitated, that you stay out of trouble.
Dude,
right?
just try going on a damn date. If you tell a girl that you went to the joint 30 years ago, she'd be like, what? I ain't fucking with you. That's why it's important. Motherfuckers trying to get a wife. Can't get no.
Yeah.
Everybody want to hold your pass against you, and then rumors get out there. You know how people get rumors. Oh my God, man, rumors is a motherfucker. You know they all over you. So what I'm saying,
I know how people do rumors. Yeah.
Release their ass. They done did their time. You sent them up. If you talking about I'm serious. Hey, you the reform man, dude. I mean, like I sent him up. I should be helping him correct his life, right?
I agree with that. I agree with that. And that's what I'm going to do. And I've promised, this isn't the first time I'm saying this, right? We are going to be actively assisting people in getting their records expunged. Now you got to set up a conflict wall in the prosecutor's office, because the prosecutor has to take a neutral stance in an expungement hearing. But we can have lawyers.
Wait, bro.
Yep.
Did you just say, is it a policy exist, or is it a policy you're gonna create?
Is it a policy I'm gonna create?
Okay, because I was finna say,
no.
I was trying to find me a doggone federal attorney and be like, bust Brian Mackey's head open, because he held me down. He held me back. He held me down past 20 years. Like, damn,
Okay, right. So we should be assisting with expungements. If you are eligible for an expungement under state law, what that means is that you stayed out of trouble for either 3 or 5 years, right? Depending on how the legislation goes and what kind of crime you committed, whether it's a misdemeanor or a felony. You've done everything we asked you to do. And here's what we know, and this goes back to being proactive. Here's what we know about a criminal record. Criminal record prevents people from getting jobs, prevents people from getting housing, prevents people from continuing their education.
Credit.
What are the 3 things that are most likely to make somebody not commit a future crime? Jobs, housing, education.
And credit.
But the criminal record is holding them back.
Right.
So it's so counterproductive.
So that's
basically out of trouble.
You're saying basically you are basically thinking about a wraparound service for ex-felons when they re-enter back in the community. I'm not talking about the current prisoner re-entry program. I don't want nothing current. That shit need to be wiped away, because it need to be updated. The prisoner re-entry program. I'm just saying, if you really want to help an ex-felon get back on his feet, get that man the tools to work. And another thing I'm saying, as far as since we on the ex-felons, because all throughout the county, and I'm going to be loud with this one, all throughout the county, you see it. I'm going to see if you see the same thing as I see and other people see. How many African-American county workers do you see on the work crew? I'm not talking about holding a sign that says stop and go. I'm talking about putting in work out there. I'm talking about maybe driving a semi, black person. I'm talking about in the township where you see all these people who cut grass, and you don't see nothing but white. A lot of them friends. A lot of the township people friends working and getting contracts. That's the oppression that a prosecutor need to be really looking at. Because when you got a bulk of crime happening in the community, and you got white privilege running all over the damn place, and everybody damn around you hired is white, something the fuck wrong. DTE, white. We all know as African Americans, we remember one black man that used to work at the service center on Huron Street years ago when DTE was there. It was one black man we remember. We used to always go pay our bill in there. He used to always help us out. One black man. So that's crazy. I even knew a one black woman that worked for Yucca. That's crazy. So what I'm saying, the fucking playing field need to be even. And when y'all politicians get on here bullshit, like I said, I sniff out the bullshit up front. Just like when the township gave the damn governor and University of Michigan that damn Willow Run plan over there. I asked a question to Brenda Stumble and they damn administration. Question, she frowned. But I asked the damn question anyway, because you're not going to stop my mouth. How many damn jobs is guaranteed when y'all give them that damn Willow Run plant? I ain't get an answer.
Yep.
Ain't nobody working over here from the township over in West Willow, ain't nobody working over there. Ain't nobody, I ain't even seen no flyers saying they hiring over there at the autonomous center. See what it is, this wicked county's legacy of being racist toward the indigenous people, African Americans and brown people. That shit gotta stop. And it starts with you. It starts with you. You have to be the prosecutor, the eyes, the person that sees the injustices, just like you saying all this nice stuff, this great. Same thing with your opponents. They got to stop talking all pretty. They got to address all the stuff, not necessarily all the stuff that I mentioned, but if you're talking about reforming, changing the community, being a better top prosecutor, doing things great, look at the masses of people, look at the masses of workers around the county. Look at them. White. I'm talking about workers. You can't tell me that there ain't enough black people that can work on the road crew. And I'm not talking about fucking holding signs. Stop. Go slow. Stop. Go slow. Because that's the first fucking job they'll give a black person. A sign holder. And also utility workers. You know, all that stuff, man. If you're going to have people bringing their ass in the county, big businesses, corporate people, you got to be willing to speak out to them too, bro, and say, you got to hire some blacks too, man. For real. I mean, what else we going to do? Sit there and get pissed off because we can't feed our family? I mean, come on, prosecutor. You talking about the root to the problem. Let's kick it, baby. Let's kick it.
No. Look, you are 100% right. You are 100% right.
So seriously, now talk to them. They need to hear. When the last time you seen a black person working on a road crew around here in the orange trucks? For real. Maybe even a whole crew of black people. Talk to me, brother. Talk to me.
I cannot remember.
MDOT.
I cannot remember.
MDOT don't hire a bunch of niggas. That's a problem. I know that ain't in your county, but I'm saying, I'm putting the blast out there. We gonna change shit. We gonna change shit. We gotta change shit. Give niggas an opportunity to work. I bet you they'll work. Don't nobody want to depend on no damn system. Dope dealers can count better than y'all ass can. Put their ass to work. I'm just saying, if you're talking about change and shit, we gotta be real, bro. And I ain't talking directly at you. I'm talking directly at all of the candidates that claim they are agents of change. They want to do this, they want to do this. It's a whole bunch of underlining bullshit behind that. You gotta be able to open the doors for other people, the less fortunate people. All these less fortunate people that they're gonna come across your court and be like, well, damn, I ain't had no money to feed my family. My mom, she ain't have enough money to do nothing but pay bills. I had to go out here and sell dope to feed my brothers and sisters. Them the fucking stories that you're gonna have to have come across your courtroom. And all I'm trying to say, are you telling the public, bro, that you are ready for that? That you are ready to listen and have some compassion to a story, something like that, and really understand? Because I really like that point that you say. I ain't trying to send them away from. But look at the situation. You got a kid out here to sell dope to make it because his mama had money, barely enough to pay the bills. And everybody on a check-to-check base. That's mostly all the niggas in Washtenaw County that's in poor areas. We on check-to-check. We ain't got no damn savings. Something the fuck happened to us. We can't run to no damn savings and get a tire for our fucking car. We can't even get no fucking credit. If we was going hungry, we had to steal. So that means we already gonna be criminals. I'm saying, there's got to be some fucking doors of conversation to open up. That's real. Because if you sit there and debate and debate and debate, you can't debate over fuckery. You can't sit there and have debates, meaningless debates, no real talk. You got to have real talk. People need to know that I'm not for that same bullshit that I'm trying to get out of office. That's the type of shit they need to hear from you. That's straight bullshit, Brian Mackey. Straight bullshit.
Yeah. And well, look, first of all, the criminal justice system as it exists right now, and I talk about cash bail, and we can talk about fines and fees, and we can talk about the probationary terms, right? And all of this exacerbates that cycle, right? All that exacerbates when somebody is dealing with poverty, right? And then let's say you're driving with a suspended license because you couldn't afford to pay your traffic ticket, right? And now all of a sudden you go to jail, and your family has to scrape up money to bail you out, right? Oh, and then maybe you got to pay fines on top of that, right? And it exacerbates the cycle of poverty, which the only reason you're in there in the first place was because you couldn't afford to pay. We got to be cognizant of that. But you're right. You're right. Look, we talk about this in the criminal justice system, and obviously I'm running for prosecutor, so I talk a lot about the criminal justice system. But it doesn't start with the criminal justice system.
You're right.
Criminal justice system exacerbates it, but it starts way earlier. It starts in the fact that we have severe economic inequity in this county. We have severe educational inequity in this county and in a state for that matter, right? That's ultimately what we see playing out in the criminal justice system. Look, the relationships between third grade reading levels and likelihood of future incarceration are super pronounced. Same thing with high school graduation rates. And I'll tell you this, it costs $40,000 a year to lock somebody up in the state of Michigan. You know how much a pre-K seat costs? It's around $10,000. So why don't we start looking at investing in communities, and investing in kids, and investing in education, and investing in housing, and investing in mental health? All of this stuff, people say, well, how are you going to pay for that? I'll tell you, it's an investment, and we're not going to have to pay that $40,000 a year on the back end. None of this starts with the criminal justice system. Criminal justice system, when you see something playing out in the criminal justice system, society's already failed.
Yep. You're damn right.
And here's my thing. And people ding me a lot because I talk about this stuff, right? They say, well, you're running for prosecutor. This doesn't have anything to do with the position you're running for. And I say, hell yes, it does. Because all of this is interrelated.
Yeah.
And I'm tired of prosecutors. Prosecutors like to say, oh, we don't enforce we don't make the laws, we only enforce them. Well, you go up to Lansing and you'll see prosecutors advocating, lobbying legislators. Anytime they're seeking to roll back a mandatory minimum law, right? Anytime they're seeking to expand expungement, right? Anytime they're seeking to make the criminal justice system a little less punitive, the prosecutors are up there in arms, are saying you can't do that. We need prosecutors who are going to expend that same energy lobbying and advocating for educational equity, lobbying and advocating for economic equity, for affordable housing, for environmental justice. You want to know why a lot of kids miss school? It's because of asthma. Right? It's because of asthma because you live in polluted neighborhoods. And where are we putting polluted air? We're not putting it in the white neighborhoods. Let's be real about this. Any white neighborhoods right down the street from a coal plant? Are there? I can't think of one. Right? So all this actually is interrelated. And we need prosecutors who are going to advocate as forcefully as prosecutors currently do. Whenever somebody says maybe we need some criminal justice reform, to say we need investment in communities, we need investment in education, we need investment in families and jobs. And this is a public safety measure because when we invest in people on the front end, we're not going to have to pay
on the back end
for this carceral response on the back end.
That's right. That's right. That's a hell of a proactive approach, man. I mean, we need some out of the box thinkers, man. It seems like you trying to change the game and give them something to think about, though.
Game needs to change.
I mean, the worst thing that we need is the same type of administration, and that's what I'm hoping. I don't know what everybody else hoping, but I'm hoping that we don't have the same type of structure. These politicians in office know we having it hard out here, and it's like, there's no win in sight for half of us, and we don't even know which way to go. Normally we get the little flyers come in the mail and this, that, and the other. And now, since COVID, ain't got nobody come talk to us. They don't usually come around until election time, knock on the door. But this is probably the first time ever that I known in Washtenaw County. I don't think I know. Even the group you supported, ex-felon interviewing raw prosecutors cussing at a prosecutor. Shit, my kids told me I'm gonna end up getting lynched, and I said, you know what? Let them try.
Well, I curse too. I curse too. So it's you know.
You couldn't cuss in no church. And I'm saying, because if somebody lie on me, I'm gonna tell them what the fuck. I'm gonna say like I supposed to. I don't like that. That's why I said raw talk, straight 100%. If somebody says something about you, I gotta say what I heard. So you can take that to the bank and let them hear you, because a lot of people want to know who this guy is. You the fresh face on the block, and that's a good thing in its own way, man. Everybody won't change. Everybody wants change, and they want to know, well, damn, okay, new guy on the block. You got a lot of momentum out there, like I said. You got a lot of balls as a person that's running for prosecutor, running out here, walking out here with a bunch of people that's going to end up calling you to task. Because I think the group that you support going to bust your ass harder than me if you turn and you get in office. They going to tear your ass up. And if they don't tear your ass up, I'm going to fuck them up. And you can put that on my damn tombstone if they think I'm bullshitting. If they don't get you, I'm going to get them for not getting you if you get in there in office. Because I believe, man, you got a heart to change. And I believe you know one of my friends I used to DJ with. He's an attorney years ago, John King. He's an attorney. John King, you know John King and Hutch work?
Where's he practice?
Huh?
Oh, really?
Bro, I got some history on you, so all them gray hair they coming out. Nah, I had to shave, you know.
You see mine. You see mine.
It's cool. That's called being out there. That's, hey, you in the fire. You in the fire, brother. That's why I call you my nigga. And a lot of people gonna be like, damn, he called a white guy nigga. He running for prosecutor. I'm gonna call you my nigga if I'm a defendant on the death. Remember, I call you my nigga, but I don't want no favors. I want you to do what you're supposed to do, the same as you would do for the white man over there trying to cut off or hurt somebody that's black in your doggone town too. I want you to even the playing field. Just because he's white, you're not gonna hold off on him. We need it even playing field, man. We need the even playing field. You bust their head just as well as you bust our head. I mean, bottom line, some of these crimes around here, a lot of us really don't need to be locked up for. A lot of the shit we was locked up for, we needed to have been redirected. It wasn't like that we couldn't turn around. We just didn't have the resources. And that's that upper hand thing that you was talking about, and that you trying to bust that up, man. I appreciate you even speaking about that. That's important, trying to break up the good old boy network, because that's what I'm trying to do with this podcast show. Break up the good old boy network in the damn township. Yes, I said it. The Stumbles and the damn Roads and the Does. Them three got to go. Stumble, Road, Doe. That shit got to go. That's the clique that I live in, and they need to go. That's all I'm going to say, period. This show has a potential to bring more voters to you, man, because for real, when you speak in raw to a candidate, I ain't even gave you a list of questions I'm going to ask. I'm just off the dome. I'm like, you know, they know this ain't script. You know, they know that this is real, man. That's what you need to do. You need to have more real conversations. And you tell the voters, man, hey, I want to be your next prosecutor. And if you want to call me, give me a call. I'll talk to you. You want to ask me more questions that maybe wasn't covered on the show tonight? I'll answer. Let them know, man. Let them hear you. This is your platform. We got time.
Yep. Look, and I wish, you know, that I could be out going door to door and talking to voters right now. We're not doing that because of COVID, and you never know who's behind the door. I'd never put anybody's health at risk if they're, you know, choosing to self-quarantine, they're immunocompromised, dealing with a family member that's immunocompromised, whatever, right? So I wish we could be door to door. That's what I was intending to do right now. But since we're not, I'm giving you my cell phone number. Saying it on the air, 734-237-8020. Call me.
Y'all hear it?
734-237-8020. It's also right there on my website at the bottom of the page. I put It goes directly to my phone. Goes directly to my phone. That's a number.
You see?
So call me. You want to email me? Email me. We've been out putting all these door hangers. eli@eli2020.com. Goes right to me. You got questions? You want to talk? You got concerns? You want to yell at me about something I said? Call me. Email me. Let's talk. That's what it's about.
Right. There you go, y'all. Y'all heard it from me. And wanted to ask you one last question right here, man. Coming on the show with me today wasn't too bad, was it?
No, it was fun.
Oh, really? So the question I got to you is, Sheriff Clayton, he should accept the invitation, huh?
I think everybody should accept the invitation. Look, I like this. We've been talking for 2 hours now.
I love it, man. This is raw.
I enjoy it.
This is raw. You even let me went and take a water break. That was love. I need some water. I like that. So we raw.
You know what? If you would have taken about 30 more seconds, I was going to go and get that beer out of my fridge though, because
well, here's one that I had waiting, and this is cheers to this conversation. The last conversation of the night. It's been a long evening for me, man, and for real, man. We need people in office that walk the walk and talk the talk. You know, everybody out there walking with you ain't for you. Everybody out there looking like you ain't always for you. I heard the word he's white and he's all right. Well, damn it, shit. You my nigga. I'm taking it up another notch. You my nigga with this conversation. We having a raw conversation. You accepted it. You coming on here with an ex-felon / brother that's trying to make changes in the community, man. I appreciate you. And if I offended you, you know how it always go, man. That's the shit we roll. That's how we roll. We raw. So people know I ain't bullshitting. And once again, you don't know me from a can of paint, right? I ain't never known you. It's the first time we really had real conversation, correct?
Yep.
And you ain't sponsoring me, right? You ain't paying for my show, is you?
I am not.
I ain't asked for a dime, did I?
Yeah.
No, nothing. So this is raw, y'all. I had a wonderful time with this man. Unless you got more to talk about, I got more time if you need it. But this man he's a real brother. Y'all heard the number. Call his cell phone. Might not tonight. He got to get that beer in his system so he can relax. Leave him alone for the night. But call him on it, y'all. Listen, I'm gonna make that appeal. Look. He's being for the next prosecutor of Washtenaw County. EL is a real down-to-earth brother, man. Y'all call that man and talk to him. Talk to him. Ask some questions that I didn't get a chance to ask. No, I believe if he get in the office, I believe he a man of his word. But if you don't believe what he said through me, call him. He gave you a cell phone number. He sounds genuine to me, and I'm hungry, and he hungry, and I'm thirsty, and he thirsty. And hey, look here. We about to shut the show down. I mean, I don't know. I don't think I can pull any other questions. Let me see. No cue cards, no nothing. I could just throw a little fun question out there. What's your favorite music, man? What's your favorite song? You got a favorite song you listen to, young fella?
You know, so I grew up sort of listening to hip hop, and my friends were like DJs and spoken word poets, and we would go out to Detroit for back when they called it the Detroit Electronic Musical Festival.
Music Fest, yeah.
So it's hard for me to pick one song, but I really have to say, people often ask me like my favorite artist, and I really like Wale. So his music, I don't know what it is about it. I think it's it speaks to me. I think the music itself is great, but he talks about some deep and important stuff. And so I'm a big Wale fan.
Right, my man. Here you have it, y'all. Thank this man once again for coming on the show. He wasn't scared. All three candidates had wonderful conversations with me. I appreciate him. I love him. They don't know me. They might not believe me because I cursed at him. Yeah, I called him my nigga. I hope he don't run me over with his car. But that is my nigga, though, for real. I call him that in his face, even if he ain't or is prosecutor. My man is a good guy. Raw, he didn't duck no questions for the candidates or anybody else that's running their mouth about this man. He ain't scared. He sound like he got a plan, and he's focused, and he's ready to be the top cop in the neighborhood, in our community, and Washtenaw County, and shake this shit up. Am I right or wrong, brother?
That's right. That's why
I'm
doing this.
Get at him. Y'all got his number. Thank y'all for signing in. Once again, thank you, brother. Again, last time, thank you, man. And
hey, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Good luck on the campaign. If you actually can get somebody to get a message to Sheriff Clayton, not supposed to eat him up tonight, but tomorrow is showtime. Yeah, he need to come on the show. Because honestly, Sheriff Clayton, I'm saying this on the last part because my man here, and he's being to be the next top cop. If you do not call the show, I know you the sheriff. We're going to have a live debate with your opponent by himself. That ain't going to look good. All three candidates for a prosecuting attorney came on this show. I didn't force them. They ain't paying for nothing. No biasness. You should too. Respect it. This man might be that prosecutor sending your ass to jail, bro, if you're doing something wrong, man. So look here, like he said, bring your ass on the show, man. Come on. He did it. My nigga. All right, have a good one, bro.
All right, you too. Good night.
All right.